Lexington, start your engine.
Tonight's match is presented by the Railbird Festival. Limited tickets remain. Get yours today at railbirdfest.com. Two teams at the bottom looking up in the Western Conference table meet tonight, hoping that this is a match that turns their season around. Lexington hosts Monterey Bay alongside the coaching veteran Eric Dobransky. Michael Wattering with you for our matchup tonight. These are two of the three lowest scoring teams in the league. Just one win combined between these two groups, Eric.
Yeah, goals change games, and both these teams are going to want to see an uptick in this area as we progress through the season. It's obviously very early, but neither one of these sides wants to spend the summer chasing the playoff line from behind. There's definitely going to be some urgency in this net match, but now complement that urgency with composure in the loud moments that define games.
If you look at Lexington, they score early, 3 goals in the first 16 minutes. Aaron Malloy leads the team with 3. Philip Goodrum's off to a drought to begin a year for a second season in a row. Didn't score in any of the first 6 last year either.
And I think it goes to collective recognition within matches. Obviously, these two players, they're going to be leaned on heavily. Philip Goodrum, sometimes strikers go through stretches where the performances are stronger than the production. That feels like where he's at, but when he scores, they come in bunches. So got off to a slower start last year, but he'll get it going. Aaron Malloy, just that tactical connector of this group.
Goodrum, 13 goals in the final 23 last year. Meanwhile, for Monterey Bay, these are their 2 influential players. Amari Glasgow leads the team with 2 assists, including the Prince Cup. Elijah Paul has scored in 3 straight.
And 2 players that Monterey Bay are hoping to ignite this attack. Elijah Paul, one of the most dangerous attacking outlets. Tremendous pace, directness, aggression with the ball at his feet. So sharp and decisive. And Amari Glasgow, explosive, unpredictable in the final third, wants to attack defenders. Next step is turning dangerous moments into the end product.
The good news for Monterey Bay is they took points in both matches last year, including a win in June. Will tonight be a night that these two groups look at the end of the year as a catalyst to a major shift in their 2026 season? We find out next.
Lexington, start your engines. It's match day. Genesis of Lexington is proud to partner with Lexington Sporting Club, delivering craftsmanship, performance, and premium experience on and off the field. From kickoff to final whistle, we're investing back in the community that fuels this club. Ready to make your next move? Step into class and experience luxury evolved at genesisoflexington.com. Genesis of Lexington. Drive the difference.
This isn't just a soccer match. It's a movement that brings the city together, brings it to its feet. The noise,
Malloy.
the energy. 90 minutes where nothing else matters.
An absolute starter.
It's the year of the horse. Our year.
Oh, what a save by Sedley.
Be there when it happens.
This is where worry turns into relief. Where confusion turns into answers. This is where your family can turn to the experts for the big things and the little things. Extraordinary care is right here. UK Healthcare, the power of advanced medicine.
Lexington Sporting Club isn't just a team, it's your club. That's why you need LSC credit and debit cards only from Commonwealth Credit Union. With your LSC card, you get exclusive discounts on tickets, merch, and get to celebrate your club every swipe or tap. Show your Lexington Sporting Club pride and gear up with the ultimate fan accessory only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
Railbird Festival, June 6th and 7th at Red Mile. Limited tickets remain. Get yours now at railbirdfest.com. And by Embassy Suites. Embassy Suites Lexington Green is your go-to spot for a weekend staycation. Third time, Lexington and Monterey Bay meet on the pitch. Presented by Railbird Festival, our broadcast tonight here from Lexington, Kentucky. Just about ready to kick off. We take a look at the starting 11s for these two sides, and we start with Lexington. One change. Jacob Green is out. He's injured for the time being. Nick Firmino hops in.
Yeah, Mac Hemi has his team in that 4-2-3-1 strong midfield that will want to set the tone early and often. As you mentioned, Firmino gets the start tonight. 2 goals, 1 assist in all competitions this season. But also this playmaking back line is going to be so important to how this team breaks down Monterey Bay tonight.
When you look at Monterey Bay, just the one change for them. Stuart Ritchie joins the starting 11.
And as for the second game for Alex Covello, looking to control build-up, establish rhythm on the ball. Nick Ross, Blancas will be essential in that aspect. Ross, with such vast experience, will look to get this team settled in on both sides of the ball. Then this back line of Farnsworth and Ritchie, can they be that two-way impact, not only winning duels, but also accessing some of that space available in transition?
Well, it's a great night here in Kentucky for this Western Conference matchup. One of the 2 matches on the docket in the USL Championship on this Friday before a busy Saturday. Monterey Bay has the blue and white kits. It's the black and greens for Lexington. The whistle blows, and Elijah Paul slows it. Long boot down the field, and we're underway here this evening. For Lexington, they are winless in their last 5. Their only win came 45 days ago on March 25th, 3-0 against Brooklyn. Meanwhile, for Monterey Bay, they are winless in their last dozen matches. They haven't won since September 27th. That was a 1-0 win at home against Sac Republic. And Eric, these 2 teams, when you look at them on paper, there's all that talent that Lexington has. And Mac Hemi admitted maybe there was a little bit more pressure than they initially expected. Meanwhile, for Monterey Bay, they're a young group, just haven't quite gelled together yet.
Oh, and it's so fascinating because we all know this game can be so delicate, and I think what both these teams are facing and looking at match by match is how different matches can play out. I mean, you look at Lexington's last match against Las Vegas Lights on the road, you go up early with a tremendous goal, but then you lose some of those loud moments in transition and you concede the 2, you end up falling 2-1 in matches where you score early and you score first. Those are some of those matches where you should be able to settle in. You should be able to control some of the rhythm and some of the tempo. And for Monterey Bay, it's almost the aspect of, can you build that sustainability in the defensive posture and some of the rhythm that the other team is playing with, because defensively, winning some of those duels in the box are going to be so important for them.
Here's Brown floating it off of a defender, and it goes out for our first corner of the match, presented by Commonwealth Credit Union. Lexington a chance.
Going to look at Latif Blessing getting his second start of the season. Has only played 72 minutes this season, so enjoyable sight for Mac Hemi, his coaching staff, and this team. Blaine Ferry over the ball.
So our first corner of the match. And already a little bit of pushing and shoving, and Gerald Flores in there. This is his 3rd game as the center referee. He issued 11 red cards, or 11 yellow cards. Red cards would be pretty crazy.
In 3 matches?
11 yellow cards in the first 2 that he's officiated. Ferry flies it in. Goodrum knocks. It bounces off of the foot of Zenge. Back out. Blessing. There's so much space for Firmino, but it's out of his reach. Delgado reads it perfectly. Let's take a look at tonight's Toyota keys to the match. What do you see this evening?
Yeah, for Lexington, dominate transition. I mentioned that Las Vegas Lights side. Obviously, every match is so different, but especially with a team like Monterey Bay that has some of that dynamic movement going forward, can you dominate some of those loud moments? And then for Monterey Bay, establish defensive momentum, making sure that you're on the road. Obviously, you're still seeking your first 3 points of the season. Have the coaching change. So can you get yourself set up and growing into this match tonight?
Only Sporting Jacks and Las Vegas have allowed more goals than Monterey Bay's 15 for the year, although only 4 of those 15 have come in the first half. Zenge charges. Thought about swinging it in for Goodrum, leaves it behind for Ferry. Brown, Goodrum knocks it. The reach of Firmino, Epps can't get to it. And a chance to reset here. Monterey Bay have really scuffled on the road. 16 consecutive winless matches away from home. They haven't won a road match since March 22nd of 2025. That was 3-0 at Orange County. So they have a lot of streaks that they would like to put an end on here tonight and start to build their form and make their push in the West. Brown gives it away. Glasgow picks it up. Ball slides out. Did Blessing touch it? He did. There's Alex Covello, was officially announced on April 29th. Spent time in the MLS with San Jose, was the interim for the Earthquakes in 2022.
When you go to that FC Tulsa match and another match very similar to what Lexington, you score in the first half, you take a 1-0 advantage, and then see an early goal in the second half to make it 1-1, drop that match 2-1 overall, but felt really good about what he saw from his team in terms of their eagerness and their fight to turn this around. That's going to be something that they're going to have to lean into going into this stretch of matches.
I think for both of these teams, if you look at the points, you look at the records, then you look at the rosters, they're not nearly as bad as the results have showcased so far. I mean, if you look at Monterey Bay, they got the 2 points in the Prinks Tire Cup against Oakland Roots. 1-1 draw, and then going to penalties and winning that 4-3. There's some reason to believe that they can make that push if they can just find a little bit more consistency scoring. And Elijah Paul right now is the only man that can for Monterey Bay. Firmino. Zenge elects to go more direct this time around. Blessing is the target. A hard bounce. Blessing hits the deck, and it is a goal kick. Blessing thinking that perhaps it should have been a foul.
And this is the diversity that Lexington are going to want to display, because it is a team that does enjoy possession and wants to be on the ball, but a team that also knows that adaptability, flexibility, some of that verticality can open up the spaces in the midfield that are so valuable. You're just obviously happy to have Latif Blessing back on the field as well. Let's see what his role develops into tonight.
Unforced error. Nobody there to receive that pass. Lexington made that huge splash in the offseason with some of these big name signings, getting Aaron Malloy away from Charleston, Philip Goodrum, Arturo Ordonez away from Louisville, and the list can go on for all the players that they picked up. The expectations were through the roof of what this team could accomplish, but just one win in the first 8.
Yeah, and that's where you can get a sense from this group that they're just itching to find that breakthrough and that collective sustainability that we see when you look at the roster. You just look at how they can really pack a punch in a lot of different areas, whether it's in wide play, in isolated moments, collectively on the ball. Seem to have a lot of the elements of a team that should not be where they are right now, but
Firmino plays it in. Epps tucks it off of the keeper's foot, hits the crossbar and stays out. Inches away for Epps to score his 40th in the USL. And Delgado did just enough to keep it out.
And Mac Hemi had mentioned to us this week about this adversity, these challenges kind of defining how this team develops and evolves as the season goes on, and using these lessons, because this is a terrific ball. I mean, brought down by Firmino, and this is that attacking presence, and then the run from Epps hits the crossbar. For a team that is still growing into the season and trying to find some of that traction, sometimes you look at moments like that and you say, oh, well, here we go again. But this is a group that is so experienced and know that they're going to get moments.
Commonwealth Credit Union corner. Ferry flies it in once more, and Delgado snatches this. Wants to go fast. One man down there, but Zemla is out. Otherwise, that would have been a break for Monterey Bay. Firmino cranks this forward, right at Delgado. I think both of these teams come into this match understanding that this is a night where they can get 3 points based on the other team's form, and I think that as the game goes along, we'll see even more assertive play from both groups.
When we talk about the pressure, I mean, you have to assume that the pressure is squarely on Lexington. They're at home. Obviously, at home, you tend to be the aggressor, and we've seen that. But on top of that, if you want to kind of live out the ambitions that you have going into the season to be at top of the Western Conference, or at least be in that top 4, you have to beat a winless team in terms of Monterey Bay. You have to beat a team. They've just made the coaching change. Going to still be looking to kind of solidify some of that identity, that structure. So can you catch a team that we've already seen kind of misfire in some of the build-up moments that are kind of in that change? So it's going to be something for Lexington as they explore this match, the ways that they can influence and define some of those bigger moments.
11 minutes in, scoreless so far. Lexington and Monterey Bay meeting for the third time. Last year, it was a 2-1 win for Monterey Bay on the home field in June. And then Lexington, when they played here, split the points in a 0-0 draw. Michael Watring, Eric Dobransky in our group, enjoying this one with you here this evening. One of 2 matches on a Friday in Week 10 of the USL Championship. Colorado Springs and Orange County to come up in about 70 minutes or so. Goodrum chases, Farnsworth shields, and clears.
I'm intrigued to continue to follow this matchup of Aaron Malloy and Nick Ross. I mean, 2 elite midfielders, and you could tell Nick Ross is trying to make sure that Aaron Malloy has no opportunity to turn and face.
Epps' cross, sees Egu. Send it away. And third corner of the match on tap for Lexington, brought to you by Commonwealth Credit Union. There is Mac Hemi. He was honest. He said that we brought in so much talent that there is a little bit of pressure, but the players have been understanding of that and holding themselves to a high standard. And it does feel like maybe they're a game or 2 away from the floodgates opening and points starting to accumulate.
Yeah, it felt like the accountability and the ownership was at a high level.
Malloy mashes near post. Epps was there, didn't get enough on it to get it past a Monterey Bay defender. Ferry right back for Malloy, the team's leading scorer, swings another ball in. It's headed high, this time by Arturo Ordonez, and it falls into the paws of Delgado. Tune in to the CBS Sports Network May 16th for a round 2 Brinks Tires USL Cup Group 6 matchup. Richmond Kickers host Charleston Battery at 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturday, May 16th. Catch all the action on the CBS Sports Network. Foul whistle and a free kick for Monterey Bay.
And besides some of the matchups in midfield and obviously in some of the wide spaces, for Monterey Bay, obviously kind of transitioning to wanting to be a more ball-dominant side, but now you face a team that is, I would say, a bit more established in that structure and that identity. So how do you kind of find that blend of being on the ball, playing through the thirds, but also being threatening in transition and hurting a team that does like to throw numbers forward.
Ultimately, for Monterey Bay, it's converting that into shots. They are the third fewest in the league this year. Only New Mexico and Sporting Jacks have fewer than the 71 total for Monterey Bay, as they've gone 5 straight games with single-digit shots. Goodrum wins it back.
And that's where I think the defensive side for Monterey Bay, I know when we've kind of looked at some of the changes and what this team is looking to do, offensively they want to grow into that attack minus the aggressor. But if you can kind of provide that stability defensively, it does allow some of that freedom on the ball in the attacking half.
Well, more moments like these would be beneficial, as a foul gets whistled on Brown and a free kick coming up for Monterey Bay. They've posted 18 consecutive games with 1 goal or less. Looking to bust out of that slump for the team with the least amount of goals in the league this year. Lalo Blancas ready to light this one up. Was in San Jose with Covello back in 2022. Swings it all the way to the back post. Nothing but black kids there that headed away. And they settle for a corner kick, this time from the far sideline, as Ordonez wins the header, as he's done so often in his time in Pittsburgh and Lou City.
First contact, always vital when you're defending in your box. And for Lexington, just overall good numbers around the ball right there. But now still have to deal with this corner.
Blancas gets another. Curls it towards the middle of the box. Semla gets a right hand on there to parry it aside. Ferry runs into a defender, and the counterattack off. Monterey Bay look to keep these numbers forward as Glasgow steps on it and slows. Well, for Lexington this year, all of their goals have either come in the first 15 minutes or the final 15 minutes of a match this season. They have 4 goals in the final 15. They have 3 goals in the first 15. So, will tonight be a night that they find a little bit of goal-scoring aggression in the middle portion of a game?
Yeah, it's trying to win some of those big moments that live in between those two 15s. And obviously you like it when your team can get off to a fast start, but you look at that game against Las Vegas, I mean, that was off to a rocking start. And sometimes when you do score early on the road, you do have that hint of complacency that kind of rolls in. And obviously Mac Hemi was not pleased with the overall performance and the play of the side. But this is a group that is going to want to make sure they find balance and find balance in some of the moments that come in matches where you have the experience within the roster. I mean, we mentioned Ordonez, Marcus Epps being one of those players. Obviously, Malloy has been one of those players that you can control the temperament of where the match is and what the match is asking from you. And that's where Lexington is at this season. And that's why they feel like the results are right around the corner as long as they continue to stack performances in the right direction.
As a coach, how do you manage a team? Because we're looking at 2 different sides. A younger Monterey Bay team that's scuffling versus the more veteran-laden Lexington side. How do you manage the differences between the experience levels?
Well, I think the bright side for Lexington is the experience and the accountability and the ownership. Mac Hemi had brought up that point. That is massive. When you can go into a locker room and go to training and you know that the individuals are holding themselves accountable for the performances and what those performances and the output that you're getting, as we see the foul there at midfield. And this is the work rate of Philip Goodrum. I mean, we talked about the no goals, but his ability to always put his body on the line and play physical is just something that he does on a
long distance free kick. Delgado smacks it to the surface. He was feet inside of his own net, but keeps that ball out. A warning sign, perhaps, from Lexington.
Yeah, I think Delgado will be fully alert moving forward on those set pieces, especially from that distance. Try to get a quick restart.
Here is Glasgow. Threads the needle with that pass.
This is Malloy, always observing, examining what's going on in and around the pitch, and sees a moment where he could possibly take advantage of Delgado, and why not from that space? I mean, you're probably going to go short, kind of recirculate. Why not test the goalkeeper, see if you can sneak one by? Kind of going back to your initial question for Monterey Bay, now you're trying to kind of layer in.
Ball smacks off of a body of Ordonez and gets sent out.
Layer in some of the ideas, the philosophy, the training, and you're going to see which players are going to buy in at a consistent rate, regardless of the results, as we see Lexington player down.
Looks like it was Kendall Burks, actually, that took that one. Right in a region you'd prefer not to take one. Whether you're headed to the next match or your next road trip, step into class and experience luxury performance at genesisoflexington.com. Genesis of Lexington, part of Don Franklin Auto Group and proud partner of LSC.
Let's see how animated Alex Covello is along the sideline. I mean, you saw in that first match against FC Tulsa, kind of running up and down the sideline. You saw a couple sequences with Elijah Paul and those pressing cues against FC Tulsa, trying to get his team on the same page with what he's seeing throughout the match, and a lot of that comes out with that consistent communication. And as the results or as the games start to wear on, you can kind of sit back and start to observe more than have to coach through a lot of those moments. But right now, every match is a training moment for him.
Delgado to midfield, pushing and shoving there. Malloy tries to get it back from Paul. That ball is given right to Goodrum, though. Goodrum stops inside of the box, and it is knocked away by Gordon.
And that's just high quality defending from Nico Gordon. Obviously playing recovery right here at the end, and if somebody is class as Philip Goodrum inside the 18-yard box dribbling at your goalkeeper, I mean, the recovery from Nico Gordon took the right angle, and then immediate block right there, and another corner for Lexington, so getting a number of early good looks.
Commonwealth Credit Union corner for the fourth time. Ferry sidewinds it in. Gordon knocks the first ball out. Malloy back on it. Out of the reach of Blessing to the sideline for Firmino. Malloy. Epps. And Ferry.
That just shows the playmaking ability from both these players, Ordonez and Malloy. Malloy able to drop in, play along that last line, and then Ordonez climbs into the midfield. His ability to play in and out of tight spaces.
Ross takes that ball away. Delgado comes out, acting as another field player. trespassing charges. Monterey Bay trying to clear their area now as Goodrum joins the fray. Finally, an outlet foul. Nadja angles it wide. It is Glasgow. Curls it around. Paul was the target. Burke shields. It goes out. But that's better for Monterey Bay, getting it from one end of the field to the other.
Yeah, that was much better through all the phases. They were patient. But then once they found that outlet, they went at tempo, and then that delivery was quite inviting. Elijah Paul not far enough into the box to get on the end of it, but overall, when you start to see that kind of come to fruition as an attacking player, become a bit more opportunistic.
Epps' ball off of a shin of Gordon. Brown wants to take this long throw. The Jamaican. Spent the last couple years with Real Salt Lake. Brown tosses, spins to the top. On the spin, it is Firmino! Nick Firmino on a twisting, turning attempt gives Lexington the advantage in the 26th minute.
And I know that this looks like it takes a while to develop, because as Firmino is turning and twisting and trying to get faced up on goal, but this catches Delgado by surprise, because you're fighting through a lot of traffic. You're trying to identify not only where your teammates and defenders are, but where are the other attacking players. And that's what begins to thin out that channel for Firmino to play into. And that is an opportunistic goal right there from Firmino, making sure that he starts with his back turned to goal, but able to turn himself in a position where all you're looking for is to find that far post. You know that you're going to have to fight through traffic, fight through Delgado, but if you just have the placement and the clinical nature there.
It's Firmino's first regular season goal of the year. Had a brace in the Open Cup's first round against Flower City. His great goal scoring in the U.S. Open Cup continues. Of course, had that great run back with Atlanta United in 2024. But opens his account during the regular year, and Lexington jump out to an advantage, 1-0. And Monterey Bay concedes for just the 5th time in the first half this year. And Monterey Bay will now try to get back into this game against the Lexington side that has dropped the most points in the league from a winning position, 8 for the year.
Got to imagine that's an area that has been talked about in terms of playing from those winning positions, making sure that you're managing moments, you're managing the game, but also not allowing that to have you change your character or casually settle in. Keep the pace, keep the tempo, be the aggressor. And you can see at midfield how well this is stacking up for Lexington. I mean, Blaine Ferry is playing right in between Malloy and Firmino. Firmino has been able to climb into the attacking third and be that energetic playmaker. And then you have the characteristics of Blessing, Epps, Goodrum. I mean, when you have Nick Firmino faced up, going to defenders, and then you have those 3 attacking players, I mean, you have a lot of threatening options that you've got to minimize or manage.
Reading it perfectly is Ferry. Steals this ball. Over to rescue it, though, is Kelsiegu. Throw comes short and fast. Lexington not satisfied with just the one. third fewest goals in the league entering the night. Just 7. They would love to have an outburst this evening, as they've scored just 1 or fewer goals in 7 of 8 matches this year. Firmino, the goal scorer, plays Goodrum forward. Egu again is over. Goodrum slides it out. At Bellevue University, your success is the only thing that matters. That's why they offer education that's designed to help you achieve your next goal. Find out more at degrees.bellevue.edu/goals.
And you can feel a lot of the momentum on the side of Lexington right now. We've seen it a couple times defensively as well. The initial pressure is good, but the secondary defending has been spot on. The ability to climb the field and jump some of those gaps and hit some of those spaces at pace. They've turned Monterey Bay over a number of times, have generated some opportunities from that. So for Monterey Bay, now it's kind of about weathering this storm and making sure that this stays a 1-0 advantage. Give yourself some opportunity to equalize.
At the half-hour mark, Lexington has a 1-0 edge. Nick Firmino's first regular season goal of the year in the 26th minute is the difference. The two bottom teams in the Western Conference combined for just 1 win on the year. And 8 total points meeting this evening, looking to turn their years around. Michael Watring, Eric Dobransky in our group with you. Epps springs to action, punches at it, into the box. Firmino! A brilliant first touch before he sizzles the strings for the second time in 5 minutes. Lexington 2, Monterey Bay 0.
I mean, this all gets kick-started from the explosive wide play from Marcus Epps. You could just see it. He drags his defender in. Ball in from Blaine Ferry. Drags his defender in, stalls him, and then just takes this big push right here. And then the craftiness of putting this on the outside of his foot. And then Nick Firmino, the brace this early on in the game. Ruthless, composed, and clinical there in the finish. What a first half for that man and his team. Exactly what they were looking for here at home.
It's the first time that Firmino has had a brace in a USL Championship regular season match since April of 2022. He was with Atlanta United 2 at the time and scored twice against Hartford Athletic.
Well, you could just see Monterey Bay is struggling to deal with some of those timely arrivals from Firmino because you are occupied worrying about Goodrum, Epps, and Blessing. So when you have that back line occupying themselves with those 3 players, and then you have the presence of Malloy who can unlock those spaces for those 3 players. I mean, Firmino, now it's one thing to have the space or have some of it available, and it's a completely different thing to be able to recognize it and take advantage of it, and that's exactly what Nick Firmino is doing tonight.
Shots are 7-1 Lexington, and all 5 shots on target have come from Lexington. And Monterey Bay struggles continue in the attack. It is a group that if you look at on paper, it's a young group with scoring pedigree. Amari Glasgow and Elijah Paul are highly touted, high expectations for those two. They just brought Kevin Najee in as well to try to bring that in, but he's 24. It's a youthful group just trying to find answers, trying to find solutions, and If you're Monterey Bay, the struggles continue. Wesley Leggett starts the night on the bench. He leads the team with 2 goals with Paul. But right now, in the final 11 minutes or so of this first half, Monterey Bay very much on the ropes. Ferry lofts it over. Goodrum tracks it down.
There's just so much to be said about how both boxes complement each other. I mean, when you could score goals, it just provides that comfort defensively, knowing that you're going to be able to attack teams. You're going to be able to throw numbers in and around the box and create and generate some opportunities to take some pressure off yourself defensively. And then when you feel that defensive support, you feel that freedom and that ability as a player to go take on a player in the final third. And if you get dispossessed, so be it. But at least the ability to be aggressive in that moment. And that's what Mac Hemme and his group are looking for. And now it's about stacking those moments and being sustainable throughout the season, as we're going to see another long throw from Brown.
Brown spins it in. Everybody raises their hand, but the only one that matters is the center referee as he says goal kick. Cheers to local beer. West 6 Brewing is proud to be the official craft beer of Lexington Sporting Club. Find their locally crafted beers all around the state of Kentucky. From the flagship West 6th IPA to Cerveza Mexican Lager. There's something for everyone. Head to west6th.com. Might be the best tasting brewski tonight for Lexington fans if they can continue on this surge here with a 2-0 advantage against Monterey Bay. The Crispin Kelp looking to answer. Blancas in, flag up, offside.
And Blancas, a player that brought into Monterey Bay, that's a player for this group that you'd like to see an uptick in just overall involvement. Obviously his free kick specialty, I mean, he is so lethal and dangerous over the ball and a lot of those dead ball restarts, but 2 shots on the season, 1 shot on target, so his involvement in the attacking third has been limited. That's somebody that you want to see climb the field and influence that attacking box.
They're going to bring this back on the foul. And that is the final warning as well.
See Egu bringing down Philip Goodrum, and I will continue to mention, and obviously Mac Hemme told us he's the hardest working number 9 he's ever coached, and we see it from his time at Lou City. We've seen it throughout his career. That standard, those non-negotiables that he holds himself true to is just such a relentless presser of the ball, just puts so many back lines under so much pressure.
Been a free-flowing performance for Lexington so far. Nick Firmino's first half brace. As the home group out in front, 1-0, and a whistle, a foul, and a booking for the first time as well. Farnsworth is the man that goes in the books for the first time tonight.
Farnsworth stepping up into this play and desperate to get his team back on the ball. There's that yellow card as we start to see this first half come to a close. The biggest thing for Lexington is the fluidity in which they're playing with. I mean, you see Firmino coming out to the wide spaces. Malloy has either climbed the field or dropped along the back line. Ordonez has climbed in midfield. Obviously, Blaine Ferry has been the mainstay there at midfield. And Mac Hemme was very high on Blaine Ferry's involvement thus far this season. What a ball.
Look at that ball. Blessing Delgado slides out. Second ball skims off of Goodrum's head and ends up out. It could have been a third, if not for Delgado making another good save.
Yeah, fantastic awareness from Delgado, because this ball is slipped in from Firmino, who is seeing this game at such a high level. I mean, you'd see him take that peek over to the left side, kind of freezes the defenders, and then slips this ball into Latif Blessing. I think the question or the challenge for Lexington now is keep your foot on the gas. Make sure that your standard does not drop now that you're up 2-0. Make sure that you're playing at that level that you feel like you should have been playing throughout this season thus far. Still so many games left, and there's just no panic in this group. But make sure that you're seeing a lot of those standards and those values, those principles of play kind of showcase themselves throughout this match.
A foul on Ordonez, this time against Paul.
This is an area for Monterey Bay, obviously being down 2-0. Can you provide that dangerous service? We've seen Nick Ross and Blancas over the ball, as we see Ordonez coming right through the back of Elijah Paul. Put it in an area, gives your team a chance to maybe cut this deficit in half, as we see a conversation there between Nick Ross, their new head coach. This is going to be an ongoing process for this group. I mentioned it earlier, games are going to be an extension of training for the team and this coaching staff.
Free kick. Blancas tucks it in. It bounces past the first couple Lexington defenders before it gets sent towards midfield. Lexington Sporting Club is thrilled to offer Low Kickers, a nationally acclaimed youth soccer program built for children ages 18 months to 9 years. Sessions are now live. Sign up at lexsporting.com/youth. Well, as far as I can tell, this is the first time that a Lexington player has had multiple goals in a USL Championship match. Of course, Aaron Malloy, 3 goals this year, 3 different games. Last year, 6 players scored at least twice. None scored multiple goals in the same league game. The last time any Lexington player scored multiple goals in a match was Cameron Lancaster back in September of 2024. Had a hat trick against Central Valley Fuego in a 7-1 win. So how about this performance by Nick Firmino? 2 goals, less than 5 minutes apart. A brace and a 2-0 advantage. Officially 5 minutes and 22 seconds between the 2 goals.
He's come on and made a lot of use of his start. Obviously came on in the second half in that Las Vegas Lights game. But to the point you made earlier in this first half, scored goals in between the first 15 and the last 15. So something that was important for Lexington. Obviously the brace is such an added bonus, but making sure that this team is up 2-0 and scoring in important moments, because talk about goals change games, but I also think the timeliness of those goals change the games. I mean, you look at that Las Vegas Lights match, and I only bring it up because, again, it's the most recent example. You score early, and just a few minutes later, Las Vegas is able to equalize. So you didn't even manage that next 5 to 10 minutes to allow yourself to take a breath, regain control of the match. And that's something that is going to be on the minds of Lexington, and as they try to put in a complete or at least thorough performance tonight.
They led for 5 minutes in that Las Vegas match on the road. Would fall 2-1. One of the reasons why this team has struggled to hold on to the advantage. But so far, so good here on the home field against a Monterey Bay team that has won just one of its last 22 overall matches in USL Championship regular season play. Into the 45th minute, Nick Firmino's brace is the difference in this game as Lexington looked to beat Monterey Bay for the first time. You talk about timeliness as well. If you go back in the first 20 minutes or so of this game, Epps had that breakaway, took the shot, Delgado saved it, it hit the crossbar. Then a long free kick from midfield, nearly caught Delgado sleeping, but he was able to make the save. And then Goodrum had his own chance 1v1 and couldn't put it on target. And I think at least some players perhaps might have been thinking, man, here we go again with this where we just cannot get the breakthrough. That collision does not warrant a free kick. Instead, Naja is down.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official
2 minutes of first half stoppage time.
Player making his second start. Going to find that impact in some of these wide areas. Takes this big touch, trying to get past Ordonez.
The USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN+. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for the complete USL TV listings.
We touched on some of the pressure that this Lexington side could possibly be feeling, and I think when you look at it, you look at the experience, obviously how this roster was built, so I think that kind of just surprises you. It jumps out at you that they haven't been able to manage some matches, but I also think that when you bring in a team and players of this stature and of this experience and of the level that, I mean, you bring in Ordonez and Philip Goodrum from Lou City sides that have just been so successful, Malloy, you almost get that sense of you're going to be the one that steps up, you're going to be the one that steps up. So you have those moments where it kind of passes itself along, and then in the end, nobody's the one stepping forward. And I think that's where this team is starting to find its identity and finding its roles and responsibilities on who's blowing up that play in transition when it needs to be blown up. When you're up 1-0 on the road, you can kind of solidify your attack when you are kind of struggling to get back on the ball or see momentum back on your side. Sometimes when you have those bigger personalities, and I mean personalities as player characteristics and profiles, how do you kind of build that into your overall structure? And right now it is as free-flowing gets for Lexington SC. Mac Hemi has to be pleased. Obviously he wants to keep the foot on the gas, and for Monterey Bay, you got to find that first breakthrough. You have to be the team that scores the next goal. You have to put pressure on Lexington and make sure that they feel some sort of sustained threat. But you also got to start making sure that you're able to keep track of Firmino, but also contain that front three.
Lexington, Sterling in the opening 45. 8 of the 9 shots in the game belong to the team with a 2-goal advantage at the break. Some early missed chances for Lexington, but Firmino changed that in the 26th minute. Added one in the 31st. Lexington, looking for its second win of the year, leads 2-0 at halftime.
This is where worry turns into relief. Where confusion turns into answers. This is where your family can turn to the experts for the big things and the little things. Extraordinary care is right here. UK Healthcare, the power of advanced medicine.
Lexington Sporting Club isn't just a team, it's your club. That's why you need LSC credit and debit cards only from Commonwealth Credit Union. With your LSC card, you get exclusive discounts on tickets, merch, and get to celebrate your club every swipe or tap. Show your Lexington Sporting Club pride and gear up with the ultimate fan accessory, only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
Lexington, start your engines. It's match day. Genesis of Lexington is proud to partner with Lexington Sporting Club, delivering craftsmanship, performance, and premium experience on and off the field. From kickoff to final whistle, we're investing back in the community that fuels this club. Ready to make your next move? Step into class and experience luxury evolve at genesisoflexington.com. Genesis of Lexington. Drive the difference.
This isn't just a soccer match. It's a movement that brings the city together, brings it to its feet. The noise,
Malloy.
the energy.
Unloads and scores!
90 minutes where nothing else matters.
An absolute starter!
It's the year of the horse. Our year.
Oh, what a save by Sedley!
Be there when it happens.
Lexington has the edge at the break. 2-0 in favor of Monterey Bay through 45. We've already seen a couple good goals from Nick Firmino, but let's look back at the goals and saves of the week in the USL Championship.
And McKinnon takes the breath, takes the shot. He's denied by Viniello after the handball by Gerger was tracking back to it. But what a stop by Viniello. And the crowd is feeling energized by it. Look at this.
The 1-0 win over Monterey Bay. Johnny Rodriguez scored the winner that night. He shoots here. Oh, he buries it with a rocket.
An absolute blast from Johnny Rodriguez of the Las Vegas Lights. That goal comes in the 11th minute with Vegas trailing 1-0. It begins with a determined play by Olex Emerson. He'll track the ball and make a tackle at midfield. Now the Lights are in business. Christian Pinzon spots Rodriguez in the middle. Johnny has a couple of options to pass the ball, but he picks the best one, a laser pass to diving goalkeeper. Johnny Rodriguez fires home the select USL Championship goal of the week.
This week on USL All Access, we'll discuss U.S. Open Cup results, World Championship teams stand at the three-quarter pole.
Alex Grinaldi puts SAFC ahead.
But most importantly, the agreement reached between USLPA and USL HQ on the collective bargaining agreement.
You'll see it SiriusXM FC or the USL YouTube page every Tuesday night.
We all have goals. But let's be honest. Most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
This isn't just a soccer match. It's a movement that brings the city together, brings it to its feet. The noise, the energy. 90 minutes where nothing else matters.
An absolute starter.
It's the year of the horse. Our year.
Oh, what a save by Sedway.
Be there when it happens.
It is halftime in the USL Championship. We hope you're enjoying your match so far. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with a look at some of the headlines from the championship. Last week we learned a lesson. Never leave a match early if the outcome is in doubt. 3 matches were decided in added time, beginning with Colorado Springs, grabbing a 3-3 draw with San Antonio in the 100th minute. Peter Wilson headed home the game-tying goal for Oakland Roots in a 2-2 draw with Loudoun United. And Michel Benitez cleaned up a saved penalty kick in added time to lead Sacramento Republic to a 3-2 win over Orange County. Louisville City's run to the round of 16 in the U.S. Open Cup earned the club $50,000 in prize money for being the furthest advancing team from the USL Championship. Lou City won a regulation wins tiebreaker with Colorado Springs to get the prize. It's still early in the season, but a trend that's helping the top clubs winning at home. Entering Week 10, 7 clubs above the playoff line in their respective conferences are unbeaten at home, so far led by San Antonio in the West, Tampa Bay in the East. Upcoming national broadcasts, AC Boise and FC Naples next Wednesday in League One. Then it's Richmond Kickers and Charleston Battery in the USL Cup. Rhode Island hosts Brooklyn. All 3 matches are on the CBS Sports Network. Now the second half is getting closer. Let's get you back out to your match.
Lexington with a 2-0 advantage at the break against Monterey Bay. Well, there are already 2 matches in the books for Week 10. New Mexico United and El Paso played a really good one on Wednesday. It was back and forth, but Diego Abatia hit the equalizer in the 86th minute, and Birmingham and Miami split the points.
Yeah, big 4-point week thus far for Miami FC. See themselves tied for that 4th spot in the East, but right in the mix. I mean, a 3-2 win over Brooklyn FC at home, then go on the road for a hard-fought point at 0-0 Birmingham Legion.
Tomorrow, it is a full slate of action. There is another game that is about ready to start. That's Colorado Springs and Orange County, but tomorrow, you take a look at that schedule, and fascinating to watch Lou City, Pittsburgh. That'll be a fun one. Those are always good matches.
And I also think Indy 11 and Sporting Jacksonville. I think Sporting Jacksonville obviously struggling to find some of that consistency and don't have 3 points to their name thus far, but for Indy 11, right below that playoff line right now, so 3 points are going to be a premium for them as well. But I agree, that Lou City-Pittsburgh match is one that you circle.
Rhode Island, Tampa at 7:30, and then you have the late slate after that. Phoenix and San Antonio and Oakland and El Paso wrap up the night, and it'll be fascinating to see how the West ends up breaking out with those 6 teams playing tomorrow.
Yeah, El Paso got off to a rocking start and now have kind of sputtered out the last 3 matches. El Paso, a team that Lexington's going to see fairly soon, and Oakland obviously off to a sustainable start. 3 draws, 1 win their last 4 matches, so that'll be a good match to watch and keep an eye on.
Lexington scored first for the 5th time this season. However, they've only won 1 of the prior 4. It's 2-0 at halftime. When we come back, we'll look back at how we got to this point. Lexington 2, Monterey Bay 0. Second half is next.
Lexington, start your engines. It's match day. Genesis of Lexington is proud to partner with Lexington Sporting Club, delivering craftsmanship, performance, and premium experience on and off the field. From kickoff to final whistle, we're investing back in the community that fuels this club. Ready to make your next move? Step into class and experience luxury evolve at genesisoflexington.com. Genesis of Lexington. Drive the difference.
This is where worry turns into relief. Where confusion turns into answers. This is where your family can turn to the experts for the big things and the little things. Extraordinary care is right here. UK Healthcare, the power of advanced medicine.
Lexington Sporting Club isn't just a team, it's your club. That's why you need LSC credit and debit cards only from Commonwealth Credit Union. With your LSC card, you get exclusive discounts on tickets, merch, and get to celebrate your club every swipe or tap. Show your Lexington Sporting Club pride and gear up with the ultimate fan accessory only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
This isn't just a soccer match. It's a movement that brings the city together, brings it to its feet. The noise,
Malloy.
the energy. 90 minutes where nothing else matters.
An absolute starter.
It's the year of the horse. Our year.
Oh, what a save by Sedway.
Be there when it happens.
Lexington controlled the first half on the home field. 2-0 the advantage for the home side against Monterey Bay. Michael and Eric back with you. And before we start off the second half, let's rewind the first half highlights. And it took till the 26th minute, but a long throw from Brown ends up on the feet of Firmino, and he does the rest despite slipping.
Yeah, benefits of that long throw. You get this touch from Ordonez, comes across the face of the 6-yard box, and Firmino disguises this long enough to fight through all the traffic, but also knows exactly where the goal is and wants to hit that far post, and clinical in that moment, and puts his team on the board early. And that was the start that Mac Hemme and his side wanted. And then you get Marcus Epps in that wide space, explodes into the area, and then so clever, the outside of the foot, and then it just finds that man, Nick Firmino, who now is faced up and is clinical, not only with the first touch, but the finish. Obviously, Delgado, no chance on that one inside the 18-yard box. Brace here in the first half for Nick Firmino. You just like how he's floating and finding the game thus far.
5 minutes and 22 seconds separate the 2 goals for Firmino. And the numbers, if you're Monterey Bay, they got to shift in a hurry. They only have 1 shot in the game, and they're really not holding on to the ball that much either.
They will, and I would say for both sides, for Lexington, what they've done a tremendous job of, I talk about the adaptability, the flexibility, and what they're presenting, but they have not gotten dispossessed in bad moments. They have not given up the ball in midfield in some of those areas where you can get hit in transition. But for Monterey Bay, you also have to force that issue. You have to force the ability to turn them over and have some of those spaces to play into, and that they're not doing thus far.
Well, for all the struggles that Lexington have gone through, if this result holds, and of course put an asterisk next to that because they have dropped the most points from a winning position this year in the league, they would be right around the playoff line, pending that result between Colorado Springs and Orange County coming up in about 20 minutes. But so far, so good for a Lexington side with elevated expectations, trying to produce here this evening. For Monterey Bay on the other side, they haven't won a match since September 27th. 12 straight winless as Firmino puts the ball back in play. Second half kickstarts here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Michael Wattreng, the veteran coach, Eric Dobransky, and the rest of our group with you here this evening in Lexington as Lexington leads 2-0 to start off half number 2. Hope you can settle in with us to watch the rest of this one. You can't turn away because this year Lexington have a 1-2-1 record when they score first. A 2-goal deficit for a Monterey Bay team that is just looking to get something back. What do you think the message would be for Alex Covello in this group going into half 2?
Have to generate something going forward, and I think it starts with this, the ability to, when you get yourself back on the ball, recognize where you can complete that first pass. And obviously, if it can be progressive and positive, that would be an added layer to it, but make sure that you're able to get yourself on the ball and have some sustained possession, because this is a team that is trying to work through the thirds, and this is a good sequence right here.
Significantly better. Richie along the left, wraps it in. Malloy gets it away. Blessing pokes at it. Ross resets. Right-hand side, there's choices to be made between the first 2 defenders, but not the third. Goodrum knocks it away. Goodrum gets it back. Monterey Bay pushing numbers forward. This is something we did not see at all in half one.
Well, and that's what I would say for Lexington, passing the test of the first 45, but they know that they're up against something different here in the second 45, just from the aspect of the risk that you're going to see from Monterey Bay. You're down 2-0. I mean, what's the difference on the road for if you concede a third? I mean, obviously you want to put yourself in a position where you can go at this game, but it only matters if you're the next team that scores. So they're going to throw those numbers that you mentioned. They're going to put a lot more pressure on you. You're going to have to make quicker decisions. And let's see if that disrupts some of the play from Lexington.
And if you look at Lexington this year, it's kind of been a little bit of boom or bust. 3 clean sheets, but 4 times this year they've given up at least 2.
That was a fascinating stat when I looked up before pregame, and you just mentioned it, was the feast or famine kind of defensively. I mean, you look at 3 clean sheets, it's one of the best in the USL Championship, obviously top 10. But then you look at some of the games they've conceded goals, and it's just been in bunches. So something where they're going to want to find that balance and make sure, like we talked about in the first half, keep your foot on the gas, but also be solid defensively. Already good energy coming out of the break for Monterey Bay.
This is a pulse that we did not see in the first half. Belmar Joseph hits that ball over the crossbar, but nevertheless, shot attempts extremely valuable in half 2.
Yeah, and just the overall collective numbers that you have in and around the box. A lot of the attacks generated in the first half were very isolated. It was Elijah Paul. It was just a lot of individual play. Now you see good spaces occupied by players, and the ability to get themselves on the ball faced up is another important aspect here.
Lexington come back in the attack. Zengay lays it forward. Blessing doesn't force it through. It's a great, well-timed slide to get the ball away, but it does concede a corner for Lexington.
It's a Commonwealth Credit Union corner kick.
This is just the unique elements that games present to you, because as the numbers grow for Monterey Bay in the attacking half, you're going to see some of those counterattacking moments for Lexington grow.
It's Nick Ross that made that play in this Commonwealth Credit Union corner. Again, it's Blaine Ferry. Slingshots it in. It's the first man. Blessing winds up. It trickles in. It's redirected past the keeper, with the flag up for offside. And Philip Goodrum provides his input as he was looking to open up his regular season account.
And wouldn't that be the way if that was that he would open his account in 2026? Is just kind of one of those plays where you're just lurking into that space and called offside again. This is where you see it so often, those second or third waves off a restart.
A lot closer than I thought, but I do believe that he was maybe just a fraction off.
Yeah, as you saw that deflection, as that shot came in, that line did step.
Laja. Paul. Through the middle, Blancas was there. Nobody ends up touching it until Malloy gets it away.
Has to be one of the first times that we've seen Eduardo Blancas in the 18-yard box. So again, doesn't necessarily come to fruition, but you have to like what you're seeing from Monterey Bay. But can they do it on the defensive side? And some of these quick strikes from Lexington, as we see the foul now from Richie.
Get ready for this year's Railbird Festival, June 6th and 7th at Red Mile, featuring Tyler Childers, the Lumineers, Zach Top, Ella Langley, Camp, Mountjoy, and more of your favorite artists. Limited tickets remain. Get yours now at railbirdfest.com. Saw the Lumineers last year in concert, worth the price of admission alone right there to go along with some of those other names. Farnsworth from the back. Ritchie. Ferry turns, stumbles, and gives it away. Here's Paul. Ritchie. Paul once more in a tight window. 3 defenders nearby, was trying to win a corner. Burke stymies. Ferry twirls. And Blessing tries to get it through midfield, unable to do so, however. Monterey Bay, very much a totally different looking team than the first half. Can't remember, maybe 1-2 times in that first half where they had possession like this. And it is totally different. Laja nearly pulled the trigger. Instead, Ferry captures. And now sends this ball along. Goodrum tries to stay onside this time around. Ego gets there, but the whistle comes and a yellow card as well for Laja. Yellow cards brought to you by Hickson Funson.
And obviously see the frustration from the collective for Monterey Bay. Thought they have defended that sequence extremely well. And we're starting to see some of the natural tinkering that you see when a coaching change happens, as we see the foul there on Firmino. As they've moved Ritchie over to the left side, Farnsworth has become one of the center backs with Egu, and then Nico Gordon playing out on the right backside. So it does seem like they're trying to get, obviously, on the ball, but they're also trying to get some different personalities in different spaces. So Nico Gordon, not typically a player that we see in that right back position. He's typically been that center back, but you have to like his presence in that wide space.
Monterey Bay have conceded 5 times in the opening 10 minutes of the second half. Blessing, Goodrum cranks one off of Egu. Zenge, Blessing. Delightful initial touch. Can't hold on to it, however. Joseph. Everybody's swarming now in those black kits for Lexington. Zenge switches fields. Late arriving run. Ferry cannot quite get there in time. And you're starting to see a little bit of that creativity that we came to expect with these players on different teams for Lexington.
Yeah, we're seeing explosive plays in both boxes and 2 teams that are committed to being dangerous. And I would also add that if we continue to see the energy in which Monterey Bay is playing with, I know it's a 2-goal lead for Lexington, but it becomes a bit more of a stressful 2-goal lead.
Goodrum, Blessing, strong touch this time. Delgado goes down. Nothing that the official sees to stop the play. Blessing working wide. And Ritchie stabs it out.
I saw a play in the first half where Blessing didn't get on a ball that Delgado came off his line, making sure that this was not one of them, made sure he...
Off of the quick throw, it is Goodrum. Finally, he opens his account in a Lexington kit. 0 goals in the first 8. And now the team's third in the opening 11 minutes of half 2. Lexington leads 3-0.
And you could tell how important and how much that means to Philip Goodrum. And as I was talking about Blessing making sure that he got on that ball first, it was the work rate that earns his team a corner, and then they go short on the throw, but Malloy, this delivery, the recognition that Philip Goodrum was working off the blind shoulder of his defenders, able to work through both of them, and putting this on a platter for Philip Goodrum, but that is an extremely well taken service, and finish.
He was shut out to begin the season. Did score in the group stage match against Forward Madison in the 92nd minute of the Prinks Cup. But he finally gets his first in a Lexington kit. And it's a great ball from Malloy. And the margin swells to 3 for Lexington. Matt Hemme told us that he thinks that Goodrum is the hardest working 9 that he's ever coached. You never question the work rate. And feels like if they can continue to get him services in the box like that, he's going to score.
Oh, 100%. And he had also mentioned that he just does all the little things that you just don't see a world that he doesn't start scoring goals because of, I mean, even that play right there just shows he recycles his run. He resets himself. He sees where Malloy's going to serve. And it's just the will to win that space right there. Obviously, it's met by a terrific finish. So quality meets quality in that moment. But he does all the things off the ball that put himself in a position to score goals. And that's why it does add to the wonder of why it's kind of taken him so long to score, but you also don't question that it's going to come. Last year, I think you mentioned this in the first half, it 13 goals in 2025, but only had 1 goal through 8 games in 2025 as well. And then so had 12 goals past that 8-game mark.
After that goal happens, we have 3 changes coming for Monterey Bay. Ruga Nakamura, Luka Milosevic, and Sebastian Leggett are all coming in. Joseph Blancas.
And number 6, Luka Milosevic replaces number 3, Stuart Ritchie.
And Ritchie are the 3 that come out. Three new players, and Monterey Bay need a shift right now as they find themselves down by 3 goals here on the road, and they have just been crushed on the road lately. They've been shut out 9 times in their last 18. They've lost 12 of their last 16 overall on the road. And just 1 win in their last 19 road matches, and it would take something miraculous for a win to happen here tonight, but Lexington is playing like a team many thought that this group might look like. And Alex Covello trying to find those answers. He's only been with the group for less than 10 days. I mean, he comes in, he's trying to figure out what this team might need. Trying to learn how to build this group. Ball bounces down. The flag stays down here. Paul throws it through the middle. Laja tries to bounce through. Burks. Burks gets to the corner. Burks drives it forward. Glasgow. Nakamura bobbles. Blessing steps in, and Nakamura is the man that gets whistled.
Talk about Philip Goodrum, the work that Blessing has done on and off the ball. He has made his presence known throughout this match, obviously earning that throw in that led to the Philip Goodrum goal. His activity, his liveliness really paid dividends. And for Lexington, credit to them. That is a way that you zap a team's energy coming out of the break, is score that 3rd goal, because I had just mentioned that even at a 2-goal advantage, that if Monterey Bay was able to place that kind of pressure and that kind of energy throughout this next 45, it was going to feel a bit nervy, and that pressure was going to start to mount. You felt like 1 goal for the opposing team would just shift and tilt the field. You have to close out a game even tighter than it needed to be, but when you score that third goal, that is exactly what you're looking for.
Lexington SC sub in the 62nd minute, number 19, Tariq Scott replaces number 30,
Latif Blessing is coming off, and Tariq Scott is the man that replaces him here in the 62nd minute. You don't want to make too much of a match that happens at the beginning of May, but for Lexington, after tonight, their next match isn't until May 23rd. They have 15 days until they go visit Indy 11. That's not that far of a journey for them to make before they go to El Paso a week after that. So if they didn't come away with a result after this one, it was going to be a long time sleeping on the thoughts of the opening season struggles. But tonight, perhaps, seems to be the night that could shift the plot around this Lexington group.
Yeah, confidence and momentum are real things for teams. I mean, you look at it, when you drop games, you can't wait for that next match to come. I mean, you're glad that you're playing on 3 days or 2 or 3 days rest and you're right back at it. Good turnover here again.
Firmino steals it, lays it off. It's Epps. Leaves the ball, goes down. And now Monterey Bay look to surge. Laja dribbles right at Paul. Paul goes wide. Burks bumps into Paul. A long way from the destination. Leaves it for Laja. Trickles it in. Lajette! No. Is able to finish. No chance that time around for Semla. And finally, Monterey Bay break through. 3-1.
Again, good effort all around. Elijah Paul just battling to get back on this ball. Picks out the runner, and then letting this ball come across the face. Sebastian Lajette, opportunistic in nature, clinical in behavior, able to get himself on the ball, just came onto the match. Obviously somebody that is continuing to grow himself into the minutes and into match form.
Monterey Bay FC goal in the 64th minute, number 88, Sebastian Lajette.
High profile player brought in for Monterey Bay.
The foul is whistled on Lexington this time. Lajette, his first goal in the USL Championship. The 33-year-old from San Francisco. And that is the first one on this charge back. There was that little bit of a push and shove in there, and Lajette would not be denied. Elijah looking for more now. He set up that last goal, flicks it in. Just a little bit of taking the foot off the gas. Nakamura called for the foul. Watch the USL Championship in Spanish on 2DN, the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings.
Well, you always got to love and enjoy the ebbs and flows that matches present, because as I was talking about zapping the energy from Monterey Bay to come out of the break, they've regained that footing. And for this new coaching staff, I mean, for the Alex Cabello, you want to see that. In terms of when you make changes, you want to see that impact. Obviously, you don't want to have your team down 3-0 in order to see that kind of influence and have to throw numbers at and caution to the wind. But this is also about finding about the character of your team, the personality of your group, because this is still an ambitious Monterey Bay side. This is still a team that has plenty in front of them. If they can start finding some of that consistency and point accumulation, they can put themselves right in the thick of it. We've seen it throughout seasons. The West, it's just so challenging.
Transitional moment for Lexington. Scott pokes it in. Goodrum! No, it's Firmino. That is offside this time. He didn't think it was by much, but at the last second couldn't quite hold up his run.
And you can see him talking to the sideline official, seeing how close he was from that hat trick, confirming that he was just less than a yard off. And for Lexington now, obviously managing this next 5-10 minutes after Monterey Bay has now pulled one back, and also making sure that you still have a lot of that identity and a lot of those principles still holding on you, because the natural disappointment is going to lay over the collective of not keeping the clean sheet, because you're playing with so much right now and you have the goals to show for it, and now you just want the defensive piece, and obviously that is now erased. But now how can you walk away from this match as that being the only blemish that you've witnessed?
Ferry fires. Scott chases. Scott wraps it around. That poke by Goodrum, saved by Delgado. 3 times Delgado denies Goodrum.
You mentioned it on Malloy's service, the entry to Philip Goodrum, obviously a big piece to how dangerous he can be. This delivery from Scott, the shape that it has and the pace, you can see Goodrum in all 3 of these chances. It just seems like this last one, he just needs to get a bit more underneath it, kind of guide that more on far post, but he's not able to get and generate the power that he needed.
With how open this game has become, doesn't feel like the goal scoring is done this evening. Hometown fans, why go far when the best stay is right here at home? Embassy Suites Lexington Green is your go-to spot for a weekend staycation. A night out, hosting meetings and events, or out-of-town friends. Local, loyal, and always game day ready. This ball bounces. Paul nearly was able to pick it up. Malloy instead sends it wide. And here comes Lexington once more. The mad dash from Epps. Circles. Epps waits. Flicks. Appeals for a handball. A corner given instead.
And it looked like those 2 runs, the far post run from Scott and the central run from Goodrum, and that's the communication that you expect to see from an experienced side and a team that is starting to find their footing in the final third and still earn a corner here. But those 2 runs seem to be inviting that early service, and Marcus Epps decides to stay on the ball but still earns a corner here.
It's a Commonwealth Credit Union corner. Aaron Malloy whips it across. Delgado punches it instead of catching. It rolls out, and Scott smashes it through the crowd and out of play.
And you knew the idea from Zenge too, because he was just shielding his defender, making sure that Scott had the lane and almost got himself taken out from that shot. But Scott obviously does not able to put this on frame. But just to back up kind of what we're seeing for Monterey Bay here in the second half, they have already eclipsed what they saw in the first half of final third entries. So 16 final third entries in the entirety of the 45 in the first half. 18 already 25 minutes into the second half. So we are definitely seeing an uptick in the numbers that they're throwing forward, but also when they regain possession, their ability to play forward. And that's something that they lacked in the first 45.
20 minutes to go. 3-1 for Lexington. Firmino, a first half brace. Goodrum, his first goal in a Lexington kit in the 56th. Paul throws it in. And it's last touch by Monterey Bay for a goal kick. And it was Sebastian Leggett that got Monterey Bay on the board in the 64th minute.
What an impact he's had since coming on, and obviously expected. I mean, that's something that they brought him here to do, is impact and influence this team on both sides of the ball. But you can see what his commanding presence has already brought. I mean, obviously scored the goal already, but that near post run, I mean, if you don't have that defensive intervention right there, that is a problem. So somebody that they're gonna have to make sure they keep an eye on, they're able to bottle up, but also influence some of the entry passes into Sebastian Leggett.
Monterey Bay looks to make this a fascinating finish if they can get one more here in the next few minutes. Glasgow crawls through two, picked back up by Nakamura, and a foul is given as Glasgow gets taken down. And a free kick here for Monterey Bay. They refuse to go away.
This is some of the isolation that you can see in those qualities. You see getting that down press from Scott, but still Glasgow able to earn the free kick. And we've seen in his career how dangerous Sebastian Leggett can be from this angle, from this space. Not only just looking for a delivery to find a teammate, but also frame is.
Leggett tucks it in. Not past Malloy. Glasgow gets a head on it. Can't quite slow it, however. Monterey Bay winless in their last 16 when they allow the opening goal. The last time they won a match was against Lexington, and it was a similar formula. Nick Firmino opened the scoring that night in Seaside in June. And Monterey Bay would come back to win 2-1. I think tonight they would be more than willing to split the points if they can overcome a 3-goal deficit overall, and currently 2 goals with about 16 minutes plus stoppage time to go.
I mean, you look at that first match for Alex Covello and his Monterey Bay side. I mean, it's a match that if it weren't for the early penalty given to FC Tulsa, you wonder what would have been made of that match itself. Can they've earned the point as we see a yellow card brandished here for Monterey Bay. Looks like Egu finds himself earning a booking on this play coming in the back of Firmino.
Both teams are making changes here. For Lexington, Jonathan Lewis replaces Marcus Epps. And on the other side for Monterey Bay, it is Georgi Lamtaze and Wesley Leggett coming in. They replace Ross and Naja.
Jonathan Lewis, another interesting player for Lexington SC. That experience, the international stage with the U.S. men's national team, obviously the MLS experience. What dimension or element does he bring to this side?
Delightful pass here. Brown. Taken off of it by Gordon this time. Brown's long throw set up Firmino's first goal of this match back in the 26th minute. This time he'll take a rest before he brings it in. Brown tosses. Malloy. Back out. It is Brown. Swings it across, and a foul is given. Agu this time on the opposite side of the physicality. And Philip Goodrum, never shy to provide his thoughts. Lexington had gone 5 straight matches without scoring multiple goals. The last time they did it was March 25th, 3-0 win against Brooklyn. 3 goals here tonight. Firmino's brace. Goodrum's first goal in a Lexington kit. Leggett has scored as well for Monterey Bay as they look to come back in this one, but too much steam on that ball as it trickles out for Leggett. Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Good work there by Farnsworth. Able to get it away and kickstart this attack.
It's going to be the other intriguing aspect for this Monterey Bay side as a team that wants to be ball dominant, wants to work through the phases, but when you're also playing from behind, how do you find that hint of urgency, find that hint of, to what you just said, that kickstart that kind of gets you going, and this is a good way of doing it.
Glasgow does well there. There is no foul. Nakamura. Touches abound. Monterey Bay looking for the solution. Glasgow has to go wide. You see Mac Hemi at the bottom of your screen. He wants his team to put some pressure on this Monterey Bay group. Everybody on this half of the field. Nakamura. Shifts fields. Zenge. Farnsworth. Well, Lexington doing the work defensively. There are no seams to pick out.
This is that portion of the match for Lexington that, yes, you would love a 4th goal, and that would just add to what you're feeling in the night offensively, but also understanding as you approach that 10-minute marker, if you can just start to see this match out in a few minutes at a time and get to that 85th minute, you're going to feel good about some of the match management you can kind of implement as time becomes so valuable.
But they take away this ball. And now here we go in the attack once more. This is Lewis. Rolls it. Egu reads it well. Final 10 minutes to go in this one. Lexington 3, Monterey Bay 0. Lexington led 2-0 at halftime. Firmino's first half brace, the difference there. Goodrum added 1 in the 56th minute. Leggett got Monterey Bay on the board in the 64th. Glasgow does get fouled this time. Zenge gets his right foot out there, commits the infraction. Another free kick here and a lifeline for the visitors.
I was talking about that possession with also adding the urgency. What they've done a good job of for Monterey Bay is that possession with a purpose, because they've found themselves isolated 1v1 in those wide spaces. Now you can go create, you can go generate some of these attacks, and then you put defenders in a position where they feel like they have to foul in that situation because you have the numbers behind it, but you know that if that player gets behind them, that players are going to have to shift, then space becomes available, and now you have Sebastian Leggett back on the ball.
Curls it to nothing but black kits. Lewis gets barreled to the surface. Can't watch the match? Turn it on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, plus hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM FC 157 and the Sirius XM app. Regardless of how the next 8 minutes or so go, I guess minus a couple more Lexington goals, if you're Monterey Bay, you feel like maybe you can harness what you've seen here in this second half. Try to build upon that, as 9 days from now, they'll be back in the group stage of the Prince Tires USL Cup against Athletic Club Boise. And back to league play. They go home to face Birmingham and Loudoun after that. Trying to get that elusive first win.
Yeah, Monterey Bay in kind of a similar situation that Mac Hemme had told us this week about his team. Was it almost felt like they had to be down for that fire to be lit and that urgency to start kind of coming to the forefront. Monterey Bay playing kind of that desperation that we thought they were going to have to play with to begin this match. So for Alex Covello and his side, how do you do that from the start? From the opening whistle, play with that reckless abandon, but also playing with that deliberate ability on the ball in possession.
We've definitely seen it in the USL Championship over the years. You get a change in leadership, and sometimes it does take a little bit of time, but there is always that opportunity for somebody to change the plot. And as we mentioned in the first half, there are pieces certainly to build on here for Monterey Bay. There's a lot of good youth players that are ready to make their impact in this league. Didn't see Riley Boudoir tonight. That's another one of those 24-year-old, right in that age range, that could certainly flex their muscles. Farnsworth pokes it aside. Darts past the first two, brings it back, swings it all the way across. Lining up for a long-range missile was Malasevich. Glasgow springs to action. Glasgow, well read there. Tariq Scotts. Goodrum comes all the way back. Too strong on the touch, however. Nakamura out of the reach of Leggett's. eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. You can download it now. And Oliver Semla goes down here in the final 5 minutes.
What you're seeing for Monterey Bay, I mentioned the numbers and their ability to occupy space higher up the field. What that does is it does allow for that isolation out in the width, because you can't do that if you don't have numbers central and you don't have representation in the box or in and around the box, because nobody's going to have to respect that space. I mean, defensively, you can just sit back and then you could start kind of winning your roles individually. But when you have players like Monterey Bay are starting to throw centrally and higher, now you do have that width, and then you have the explosive nature of those playmakers, and you're seeing that pay dividends and really influence how this match has been played in this second half.
We'll see how much time this tacks on to stoppage time here in half two. Soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek. Your ticket to great seats.
Saw Aaron Malloy there having a conversation with the coaching staff. Obviously something that they're going to want to make a change with here to see this game out. It's like Philip Goodrum just trying to get some clarity on the rules themselves in terms of how he can tailor that physical play that he's so well known for.
He's been defined by some as a pest, and for 90 minutes it is not an easy shift, to say the least, against Philip Goodrum. Not just for the players, but also for the officiating crew. Glasgow cuts the angle. Scott shoves. Glasgow, good strength, gets twirled off this. And it's a foul, and it's a booking as well. It's a time-wasting clearance. That's going to earn a yellow card. I think that's Firmino. That's going to be the one that gets booked, the man with a brace.
And in no way am I saying this is going to be Monterey Bay's final opportunity, but this has to be a big moment for them. You have to get something on this delivery. You have to generate something dangerous in front of goal, because you have a 2-goal deficit and not much time remaining, as we see the foul there and then the delay.
Here goes this cross into the mixer and hits the left post. Second chance, saved off of the line. Will there be another chance for Monterey Bay? Inches away from making it 3-2. Daze into the box, wide open on the back post, a great touch. Agu hits it off the outside netting. He did all the hard work but couldn't finish.
And good attention from Monterey Bay. They're throwing numbers to that near post. They're dragging defenders away from the goal. Here's the delivery on the initial play, and goes off the post there. But again, the runs and how sharp those runs are in those moments, so important. And for as well as Lexington has kind of controlled some spells of this match, I mean, they're going to have some big moments that they're going to look back on. And obviously, if they're able to see this game out at 3-1, we talked about the break between now and their next match. The confidence and the momentum is going to be there from the fact of the 3 points. But there are still going to be some learning areas that Mac Hemme and his side are going to want to look at, because this has been a completely different second half. And I don't mean that Monterey Bay has controlled this second 45. I just mean some of the big moments that have presented themselves. I mean, we were just a few inches away right there from this being a 3-2 match, and with a lot of tension to see this game out.
Glasgow does try to make it 3-2 this time as he nutmegs Scott, gets inside of the box, crosses it in, takes a ricochet, leg it hits the post, it trickles along the line, Brown clears. 5 minutes of stoppage time to go as well, and 2 chances in the last minute could have made it a 1-goal game. Long throw inside of the 18. Chipped back in, flags up, it's offside.
And right now, Monterey Bay just plagued by both of these posts. Hit the far post earlier and then hit the near post here. It takes a deflection, and then in that cruel way, it just goes across the goal line, and you almost feel like anything can push the ball across the line. I mean, you get the slightest of breezes and it'll go past. But that's just been the sequences for Monterey Bay. And as I would say for Mac Hemme, I mean, Alex Cavello has to feel good about what he's seeing from his group and the response.
Scott tries to angle it in.
But any coach and any team will tell you, you can't concede 3 goals and expect to earn 3 points. I mean, you're just not going to be able to outscore opponents at that clip.
Firmino lays it off. It's Goodrum. Goodrum elects to go corner flag. Farnsworth rides his backside. And the ball goes out for a Lexington throw. But to the point that you were making about Lexington, when you look back at this game, and when you look back at the season to date, it's the inability to close out games. Yes, you are going to win this game. Yes, you are going to get 3 points. But that does not exclude the fact that on multiple occasions in the final 10 minutes, you have not been able to just write this game off.
Yeah, and you see it on the face of Mac Hemi right there. I mean, you could see he's been up and down the touchline. Obviously, we've seen him leave his technical box there to kind of will his team on defensively. So clearly there's some frustration there of how his team has kind of seen this game play out and how they've managed this second half. And they got the third goal up 3-0, but now it has become frenetic, to say the least, in terms of how they're responding and reacting defensively. Everything's very kind of last-ditch effort in terms of getting behind the ball and minimizing some of the dangerous moments. Is now see a foul at midfield on Lexington.
I'm not sure they did call the foul. At least initially they didn't. A couple touches after that. Now the foul does come. I think it's the fourth official that was the one that spotted it and let Gerald Flores know that there was a foul there. I mean, this was a listless Monterey Bay side in the first half. They had one shot, and it was not threatening in any way, shape, or form. Significantly different here in half two. Semla catches. He'll go to ground as well. 8 second-half shots for Monterey Bay. 1 on target, but I always find it funny when you talk about on target, because if you hit the post 8 times, that's significantly different than if you have a shot on target that just trickles to the goalkeeper.
Agree with you 100%. And then kind of going back to how Monterey Bay is playing here in the second half. One of the most challenging things to do, even when you're not dealing with just a new coaching change and kind of a new identity or a new way of approaching things, it's the sustainability. It's being able to do it on a consistent basis. As we see someone having to punch this away. I mean, Monterey Bay just continue to ask so many different questions right now. But now, how do you build onto this performance into your next match? Obviously, now you take a step away from the regular season and you go to the Prinks Tires USL Cup. But you have to be able to build off a performance like this, and because each match is so unique in itself and it's going to demand something different. So how do you attach your identity to now performing at that level and at that standard day in and day out?
Leggett fires it in. Brown heads it. Leggett loses it. Gives it back, however, does Lexington. This shot attempt finds a spot in the seats. It'll be a 13th consecutive winless match for Monterey Bay. They've been outscored in that time 27-7 since their last victory. Meanwhile, for Lexington, they'll get a valuable second win, get up to 9 points, and put themselves right back into the noise-making crew at the bottom of the playoff line. Lexington back into the winning ways. 3-1 the victory tonight. Their first ever against Monterey Bay. Nick Firmino tallies a brace, the first by a Lexington player in a USL Championship match. An important 3 points staying here in Kentucky.
Yeah, you could see right there by the reaction from the bench and the coaching staff, obviously the players here on the field, how much that match meant and the 3 points. Obviously, as we saw the first half develop and that 2-0 advantage going into the break, we thought that this was going to possibly be that thorough, complete performance that Lexington was looking for. It wasn't that in the second half. And I will give a lot of credit to Monterey Bay and the ability to kind of execute after that break and put a lot of pressure. But for Lexington, you pick up 3 points, but you still leave yourself a lot of room to grow and learn. So that's some positives there for Mac Hemi and his group.
3 points for Lexington. 3-1 win for Mac Hemi's crew. We'll be back to wrap things up. It was an eventful night here in Kentucky. We'll have all the highlights for you when we return.
Lexington Start your engines. It's match day. Genesis of Lexington is proud to partner with Lexington Sporting Club, delivering craftsmanship, performance, and premium experience on and off the field. From kickoff to final whistle, we're investing back in the community that fuels this club. Ready to make your next move? Step into class and experience luxury evolve at genesisoflexington.com. Genesis of Lexington. Drive the difference.
Lexington Sporting Club isn't just a team, it's your club. That's why you need LSC credit and debit cards only from Commonwealth Credit Union. With your LSC card, you get exclusive discounts on tickets, merch, and get to celebrate your club every swipe or tap. Show your Lexington Sporting Club pride and gear up with the ultimate fan accessory only from Commonwealth Credit Union. Here, we see you differently.
This is where worry turns into relief. Where confusion turns into answers. This is where your family can turn to the experts for the big things and the little things. Extraordinary care is right here. UK Healthcare, the power of advanced medicine.
Michael Watring and Eric Dobransky looking back at a thrilling matchup on a Friday night. It took until the 26th minute, but Lexington finally broke through with Nick Firmino.
Yeah, long throw from Brown, and then Arturo Ordonez gets himself on the ball, bodies himself up in the box, gets the touch, and then Firmino does the rest. Clinical in that finish, just guiding it on goal. Opens up the scoring for Lexington, and then you start to utilize some of the wide play. Marcus Epps gets himself on the ball, and then just meets that explosive touch into a crafty touch into Firmino. Now gets himself faced up on goal. Not much that Delgado can do with that when you have that kind of look in front for Firmino. Gets the brace in the first half. 2-0 advantage for Lexington. And this goal from Philip Goodrum, obviously the first of the season for him, which is huge, but also came in a moment in the match where a lot of the energy and the momentum was starting to shift towards Monterey Bay. You felt like if they were able to cut in the lead, that this was going to be a lot tenser of a game than it was. But even with that 3-goal cushion, Monterey Bay managed to make this match extremely stressful for Lexington. Sebastian Leggett comes on, makes an immediate impact, buries that one, and then does it in a fashion where it leaves plenty of time. And this being the first of 2 massive opportunities for Monterey Bay, probably in sequential order too. You get this one off the post, and then just a few moments later, 1v1 here. Let's go, and then picks out the runner. Leggett almost able to get that deflection past Zemla, but then you hit the other post. One of those 2 going in would have changed the storyline, the narrative to finish up this match. It would have been a lot tighter finish for that, and you can see what 3 points does for Lexington SC on the night.
Expected goals are even, 1.39, 1.39. Can Monterey Bay harness this into their next match against Athletic Club Boise, as they still are winless in the league, but an opportunity for them in the Brinks Tires Cup next time around. Nick Firmino logs a brace. Philip Goodrum finally cracks open his accounts in a Lexington kit. And the Lexington side are back in the win column after 5 straight winless. 3-1 over Monterey Bay. For my partner tonight, Eric Dobransky, I'm Michael Watring, signing off here from Kentucky. Thanks so much for watching. Good night, everybody.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.